and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 2. We'll be presenting about the calcium phosphate in agriculture. We consist of 4 members, Divya Syed Anak Perempuan Punisami, Muhammad Haikal Dini bin Muhammad Tarmizi, Ahmad Nurhan Amsyar bin Nizar, and me, Adifah Nuraini binti Ari. I will be the first presenter, and my matrix number is AS11823. So, without any further ado, let's begin.
Assalamualaikum and good morning. My name is Muhammad Kadini bin Muhammad Tamizi. My metric number is 11536. And today I'm gonna present about calcium phosphate and the properties of calcium phosphate. So the formula for calcium phosphate is Ca3PO42. So this is the formula for calcium phosphate. Now we go to the chemical and physical properties of calcium phosphate. First one is melting point. For calcium phosphate, the melting point for calcium phosphate is 1670 degrees Celsius. And the boiling point for calcium phosphate is decomposes. The third one is calcium phosphate can be dissolved in acids but not in water. And the pH range for calcium phosphate is about 6 to 7, which means that calcium phosphate is an alkaline. And calcium phosphate is appear in white powder, which is solid in room temperature. And second last one is the molecular weight for calcium phosphate is 310.18 gram mole, and the density for calcium phosphate is 3.14 gram centimeter cube. So calcium phosphate is a family of materials and minerals that containing calcium ions, which is Ca2+, and together with inorganic phosphate ions. So the next one is calcium phosphate are found in many living organisms, even human, bone mineral, and tooth enamel. Like our tooth, we can find calcium in our tooth and our bone.
Hello and good morning everyone. So today I will continue with how calcium phosphate is made. So calcium phosphate is made from both raw material and manufactured product. So for raw material, it is found in bones, milk, teeth, and ground. So one of the example is apatite. Apatite is a mineral rock which is an impure and complex form of calcium phosphate, which produce tri-basic calcium phosphate. So this is an example of calcium phosphate, which is apatite that contain calcium phosphate. So for manufactured product, it also can be produced by reacting phosphoric acid with solid calcium hydroxide. So dibasic calcium phosphate can be produced in formal of distractions by using an aqueous solution of calcium hydroxide. Monobasic calcium phosphate is obtained by adding excess phosphoric acid to either a dibasic solution or a tribasic calcium phosphate solution and letting the solution to evaporate. So this is the balance equation of this reaction. So next, I will continue with how Malaysia get the calcium phosphate. So Malaysia get the calcium phosphate from import from another country. So this are the statistic and data from 2018. And for your information, that calcium phosphate is not only for agriculture but also for medical and drugs.
Calcium phosphate in agriculture is natural or artificial substance that containing the chemical elements. In fertilizer, it's derived from the phosphate rock or bones. In feed grade, the calcium phosphate include the dicalcium phosphate, monocalcium phosphate, and tricalcium phosphate. So the general uses and functions of the calcium phosphate in agriculture is: first, the calcium phosphate nanoparticles may help in the formation of new nanogrowth promoter and nanofertilizer. Secondly, the calcium phosphate contributing to precision farming as it reduces the fertilizer wastage. fertilizer stage. And third, it also needed for the body to make protein for the growth, maintenance, and repair of cells and tissues in animals. So here we can see the pie chart of the calcium phosphate in agriculture, which is mostly used by the China.
Greetings everyone, my name is Divyashree Punasamy, matrix number AS11995. So today, our learning outcome is all about calcium phosphate in agriculture. But remember, agriculture is not just about plant cultivation, but also about animal farming. So the importance of calcium phosphate in agriculture cannot be seen as a whole, but we can just divide them into phosphorus and also calcium in order to observe their importance in plant cultivation and also animal farming. So now let's go to the importance of phosphorus in plant cultivation first. So basically a plant needs around 30 to 50 ppm of phosphorus to grow healthily, because phosphorus becomes the vital component of the DNA and RNA structures in the plants where the gene transference are involved. Now, phosphorus also involves in the plant energy reactions such as photosynthesis and also the transference of nutrients from one part of the plant to the other, as they become the crucial component of ATP. ATP means the adenosine triphosphate, which means the energy currency of the plant cells. And going on to the next point, the phosphorus increases the nitrogen fixing capacity of the legumes by increasing the number of nodules in the soils and the roots here. And also the phosphorus ensures the good development of the plants in the early stage of development itself by stimulating an extensive root system and also upright shoot development, as well as improving the stalk and stem strength. And also phosphorus collect abundantly in the flower and also seeds for their improved formation and also increased production. And finally, phosphorus increases the resistance of the plants towards the diseases such as microbial diseases and also heat stresses. And how this can be attained is that phosphorus will make sure that all the plants undergo more uniform and earlier crop maturity from the beginning of the development itself. And now let's see what will happen if there is deficiency of phosphorus in plants. We can observe the general stunting of the plants during the early growth of them when we compare it with the plants that has adequate supply of phosphorus. So the one which lacks of phosphorus will have the size like 2 or 3 times smaller than the one that has a good supply of phosphorus. And we can observe this in the strawberry plant as an example over here. And next is that we can observe the dying and cupping of the leaves in the potatoes and also the leaves of the sugarcane. And finally, there will be abnormal discoloration of the plant parts, which is very common in the corn, where we can see that the leaves of the corns having this reddish purple kind of coloration, abnormal coloration at the tips and also margins of the leaves. Now, let's move on to the importance of calcium in plant cultivation. So basically, a plant needs around 40 to 60 ppm of calcium in order to grow healthily. As we can observe that the calcium has been very responsible for the plant in the cell division and also for the strengthening of the cell walls, as the calcium forms this compound called the calcium pactate. And also calcium helps in converting the nutrients such as the nitrogen and also nitrate into the forms that is needed for the protein formation, and also in the form that can be easily absorbed by the plants. And calcium also activates a number of plant growth regulating systems and also participate in the metabolic and also the hormonal processes within the plants. Calcium also contribute to the improved disease resilience when it works together with the phosphorus in the form of calcium phosphate. And finally, it also improves the absorptions of other nutrients such as nitrogen and potassium by the root, and also their translocation within the plant, like from the roots as it absorbs, and it will transfer, it helps to transfer to other parts of the plants. And next, what will happen if the plant has a deficiency of the calcium? We can observe the depth of the growing points of the plants, like at the roots and the shoots, they will get really damaged. And also the curling down of the leaves at overall of the leaf will be curling down. And the blossom end rot, which occurs quite frequently in the tomatoes that lacks of calcium, where the bottom part of the tomatoes gets rotten. And also, we might be wondering why the buds of our flowering plants falls off very easily, and that is because of the deficiency of calcium. And also, we might have observed these burning edges and also tips of the lettuce leaves and also the other greeneries, and this is because of the calcium deficiency. And also, we can observe a yellow spot between the leaf veins and the bitter pits that occurs quite frequently in apples. Now, let's go to the role of phosphorus and calcium in animal farming. Here in the animal farming, calcium and phosphorus cannot be divided and seen separately. They have to be seen together along with the presence of vitamin D, just like how we see that in human body. So the suitable ratio between them would be around 2:1 and 1:1, which is quite basic in animal farming. So phosphorus and calcium works together to improve the growth of the farm animals such as horses and also cows, like in terms of the formation of strong bones and teeth and also good muscle developments for them to move around very well. And also in the chicken farming, we can find out that if there is enough phosphorus and calcium, that it will achieve a high rate of egg production and also a good quality of eggshells can be observed. And also gestation. What is gestation? Gestation means the pregnancy period of farm animals. So during the gestation period, the farm animals need quite an abundant supply of phosphorus and calcium for the young and also for them. And lactating farm animals also need a quite abundant supply of phosphorus and calcium. And finally, agricultural specialists have found out that the phosphorus and calcium in an adequate supply can improve the fertility of the farm animals. So phosphorus and calcium are quite important in animal farming also. So what will happen if there is deficiency in these two important nutrients? So we can observe ricket, that means the bone disorders happening among the farm animals such as cows, and also depraved appetite, that means that craving for the unusual food like wood. Usually they won't eat this kind of food, but what happens is that when there is deficiency, so this pica habit may develop, okay, among the farm animals, and along with other problems also, for an example like reproductive disturbances, reduced milk production, reduced eggshell quality, and also retarded growth among the farm animals. So all in all, we can conclude that phosphorus and calcium, if incorporated together, we call that as calcium phosphate, is very important as a fertilizer in plant cultivation and also as a food additive, the animal feed additive for the animal farming, to improve the agricultural products from these both branches. So if there is deficiency, the quality and the production will also be depleted. So it is very important to ensure a good supply of calcium phosphate or calcium and phosphorus in animal farming and also plant cultivation. Thank you very much.
I will explain the pros and cons of the calcium phosphate in agriculture. For the first, it helps plant cells communicate with each other. This is the advantage of the calcium phosphate in agriculture. It can help plant cells communicate with each other by physically moving between the cells. And second, the lower feed cost has helped support feed phosphate demand growth, especially in the developing countries. And third, phosphate supplements supply essential minerals for the developing of strong bones and teeth in livestock, poultry, and pets. And for the cons, calcium phosphate is a very slow and weak phosphate fertilizer, especially in alkaline soil. It's essentially unavailable there, but it's more available in the acidic soil. And second, calcium phosphate is not a particularly soluble salt, and plants may have difficulty getting nutrients. Depending the circumstance, it might be better to fertilize separately with rock phosphate and lime. And adding phosphorus through a use of fertilizer may seem like an easy solution. However, it can pose a detrimental negative side effect on the environment. Extra phosphorus can build up the soil and eventually runs off into the water and thus harming the marine.
So next, I will continue with the impact of the calcium phosphate. So calcium phosphate offers many benefits to plants and animals. So it provides many nutrients and it is very crucial for both animals and plants. So my friend just told you just now that calcium phosphate is very important. Then if deficiency with calcium phosphate, it will give many side effect to them. So calcium phosphate is considered to use a lot in agriculture. So to conclude, agriculture is our wisest pursuit because it will in the end contribute most of the real wealth, good morals and happiness. That's all from us. Thank you.